So here are my 5 top car picks as of the 29th of June 2022. Now, if you're used to my channel, I've done a lot of like car searches in the past. I said a lot last year that, well, car prices were so high. And if you could, the best thing that you could do was sell your car at the top end, at the premium, or hold and keep your car. That was the main advice that I gave. As of now, the best thing you can do is buy, because cars are now starting to come down. We are obviously going through an absolute turmoil in the world, and this does lead to opportunities. Now, I don't think it leads to opportunities necessarily in the general car market, but I think it does for specific special type cars that I know a lot about, cars that I've researched a lot about, and cars that I've shared on the channel, cars that I've driven on the channel, and also cars which, yeah, I could just advise is actually a bit of an investment, a good store of value. You think of inflation in the UK, they say it's coming up to 11%. It's probably a lot more than that, in fairness. So in fact, actually having your money in an asset which you can actually then use as well is actually a pretty good idea. So my first one is going to be the GTI Club Sport 40th edition. Now, the best thing you can kind of check on Auto Trade or anything like that is see how many models are available and how much of a limited edition model it is. Now, there were not many of these cars made. I believe in the UK it was sub sort of 400 cars, so not many at all. And on Auto Trader today, and actually if we take off no written off cars, there are 19 cars for sale. And the one that picks my mind, and I will put a link in the description to all the cars that I would recommend, and yeah, it's for you guys to check out if they're still available, as of I'm filming, 29th of June 2022. So it's this 40th edition. It really, well, first of all, I think it's really well priced at £22,000. It's in a very good area as well. That's important, where the person is located. I'm a big advocate of private sales, and the reason because of that is you get a real understanding about what the car is like and how the car is being looked after. I like to practice what I preach, and I've recently purchased a couple of weeks ago a Fiesta ST200 from a private individual, and I understood the whole history. He was the only owner, he owned it for 5 years, he told me everything about the car. And the great thing is they're not trying to sell you a dream. They tell you the stuff that's wrong. They tell you, oh, it's got some stone chips on the front. I'm not bothered about that. Fiesta STs, they have weak paintwork, so I understood that. And you get that. If you get it from a dealer, they will try to sell you a dream. This is the best car ever, etc, etc. So private sales, if you find the right private person with a well-specified sort of limited run car, the chances are it's going to be well looked after. And you can obviously get it at a better price than if you got it from a franchise dealer or a main dealer. That's what I would go for. So this car, I'm not going to lie, I'd love to have owned this car. I'd really would. I've driven the 40th. I think it's a great car. It's in a great colour. It's in a fantastic spec. 41,000 miles on a 66 plate. Is really good. I'm sure you can agree from the images that you are seeing, it looks stunning. Now, this is actually, other than being in 5-door, you can get them in 3-door. You can also get them in manual and DSG. This car is in manual. That's probably my preference for the 40ths, just because it's a front-wheel drive car. But there's nothing wrong with the DSG, the automatic. The wheels are quite important, because you can get these 40ths in quite a few different wheels, including like the 19-inch Pretoria wheels. And I believe, you can get other wheels which are very similar to the normal GTI. These wheels are actually very specific to the 40th. So I would hunt a car with these type of wheels if you can see them. Car looks in brilliant condition. It's got, basically the exact same styling as the even more limited Club Sport S, which was 3-door only and had no back seats. They've kind of disappeared in prices up towards sort of the £40,000 mark, but this is probably the more usable car. Now, this owner has, again, honest, he had a Club Sport exhaust fitted. It's been removed. Other than that, he says the car's completely stock. Well, it is stock now because it was removed. Alcantara wheel has been worn a little bit. Manual gearbox looks great. It's got full leather interior, which is again really nice as an optional extra. You can get these 40ths with the bucket seats, which is very hard to find. I believe there was sort of like a £3,000 option, and I have been in them. Make the car a little bit more hardcore, I must say. And there you go. This is number 54 of the edition 40s. You get a little plaque there. Really well looked after, fantastic car. Yeah, and let's just see what else they say in the description. 2 previous owners. Nothing bad. Everything looks good. Dynamic damper control. It's just had its annual service. It's just had 12 months MOT. Everything is basically, the owner clearly knows his stuff. Red interior mood lighting exclusive to leather interior. That's the sort of thing that I don't know. I would chat to the owner, get an understanding what they're like. And yeah, at the price point, I think it's really good. And, the one thing I will say to all the cars that I'm going to recommend, if the owners can, I would actually recommend they hold. I think this is the time you buy and hold. Last year, and even potentially the year before, was, when the car market was so high, it was the time that you sell or hold. And I practice what I preach at the end of the day. I've got 2 cars myself. I've got a Golf R, I've got a Fiesta ST200, see what I kind of do as things go on. And yeah, hopefully, you're interested in my opinion and my, passion for this. I do research this stuff and I hope it helps you out. But yeah, that's my first pick. And yeah, a great car there. So yeah, in the description if you're interested in that. And I would say as well, make sure you do all your checks as well. Auto Trader does give you a few little checks. When I picked up a car privately, I used Car Vertical. I'm not sponsored or anything by them, but yeah, I used them. I did a quick check. It was like £15-20. It just makes sure the car's HPI clear. It's got no finance on it. It's never been an accident. Everything lines up. MOT lines up. It just gives you that extra peace of mind. Obviously, this car has just been serviced, so mechanically you're pretty safe. But yeah, do the checks that you have to do. Obviously, don't just take my word for things, and see if it's good. The one thing that I would say as well, just briefly, as I've just noticed, is tyres. Now, I can tell by the marking on that tyre that it looks like he's put PS5s on it, potentially Michelin Pilot Sport 5s, which would be a new tyre. I can't 100% tell, but I believe that that's what that decal is. It's quite hard to see up to it. I believe that is what the tyre is. That's a new tyre that's just come out. It's more of a premium tyre, and yeah, I think it's on an 18-inch wheel. So that shows if it's got a square setup of the exact same tyre and it's a good brand. Again, it just shows the owner knows that he's looking after it, and it gives you a lot more peace of mind. Unbelievable car, brilliant car, 41,500 miles, which means you can have some fun in it. You can maybe get up to sort of like 49,000, and you'd probably be in a good position when things start to stabilise in the world to get your money back, or even potentially make some money. You never know. They're not making these cars anymore. The world is going electric. So, these are the special things and the special cars that you just can't get ever again. Right, on to the next car. I would say it is the Ford Fiesta ST Performance Edition, the Mark 8. Now, basically Ford love to do their sort of limited edition models, and they do very, very well. I have one myself, the ST200 from the Mark 7.5. Now, they've brought out in the Mark 8 2 special edition cars, the ST Performance Edition and the ST Edition. The ST Edition is more rare and very, very expensive, but it looks cool. It's in blue. The Performance Edition was slightly less rare, again around 400 cars, but it's at a slightly better price point. Now, these cars, fast forward enthusiasts, they're great. They really are actually good viable investments, particularly when fuel prices are quite high as well. Economy helps a lot when you're sort of trying to actually run a car and enjoy it. The specific car that I want to point out is this one. Now, this is not a private sale, but it's not the end of the world, but it is a main Ford dealer. It's done 14,000 miles and it's up for just over £20,000. Auto Trader gives it a lower price thing, which is good. I would look for a car that is stock if you can. This car looks pretty stock to me. Again, it's very hard to tell. A lot of Ford enthusiasts love to sort of tweak their cars, so you never know. Okay, so he's tweaked a little bit of the inside. It's quite a common thing to change and add the carbon bits in there. Again, stuff that can be reversible if need be. And there's sort of like the details of it. It doesn't say too much, but when cars are sold by a Ford dealer, they tend to have a full Ford service history. They tend to be sort of like one owner. This says an ex-demo, so it was used by the dealer, so it is a one owner car. That's pretty cool. So that's one that I would recommend. I think it's a good little car to get into. I don't think you're going to lose that much money. You're going to have plenty of fun. I've driven the Mark 8. I think they're great. There is a facelift which has come out, but which is basically the Mark 8.5, but I don't believe they're going to do a special edition for that car. Simply because of the way the world is at the moment, and they're dropping the Ford Focus completely, which I'm going to go on to shortly, in 2025. So yeah, at the end of the day, Ford are sort of changing their complete ethos in terms of performance models. I was at the Goodwood Festival Speed. Ford used to have a big sort of performance sort of orientated stand. Now they just had nothing. They had 5 cars, they're all electric. They could not be bothered about this, and particularly in the UK, people are so passionate about these. I've been to events, they're really sought after, and yeah, you're not going to be able to get them anymore. So that's another one of my picks. Next one, a bit of a curveball, but a car that I love, is the Porsche Cayman 981 GTS, so the 3.4 litre. Now again, for this, what I find is you check how many cars are for sale. I should say for that Fiesta, there are 19 performance editions for sale. So if you think about how many Fiestas and Fiesta STs in general are for sale, it's hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands. So when something says 19 or 20, it's a good car to get into. The 981 GTS is a brilliant car. They built it from around 2013 up till 2016, naturally aspirated engine. There are 21 981 GTSs for sale. Some, as you can see here, have actually been here for ages, and they just sit and they do not move at all because potentially they're overpriced. One that's picked in my mind is this car, which is actually very local to me. I'd love to pop in and get it. And it's up at rather the high end at 48,250, but it's only done 31,000 miles and it's fully spec'd. 4 owners is not bad for an 8-year-old car. 2014, looks stunning. Look at the house, look at the area. Those are important things. Talk with the owner. You know, they just want it to go to a new home. And what you'll find a lot of these high-end cars is a lot of people say, like, I'm selling my Cayman S because I'm getting a GT4. You know, it's that kind of level. And they don't want to go to a Porsche dealer, because a Porsche dealer, as I spoke to someone who was actually looking to sell his Porsche 718 Boxster S, Porsche take a £10,000 premium. So they offered him £39,000 for his car, and they said to him, we will list this car for £52,000. So of course he's gone in, is listing it privately in the middle at £46,000. So you will see these, and there is money to be had. I love the Cayman GTS. I've driven it plenty of times around track. It's arguably my dream favourite car. If I was in the right position, I would be knocking on this guy's door or girl's door and getting this car. I think it's fantastic. It's clearly been well looked after. It's possibly even been garaged. They have other nice cars. They've got a Cooper S in the back. Yeah, and the inside is very nice as well. PDK, so it's a spec on that. Sports chrono with the dials, the upgraded like PASM suspension. You've got the upgraded wheels. Yeah, there's nothing I don't like about this car, and there's potentially room to negotiate on price as well. Yeah, another one of my definite, this is a top pick for me. And I just think, again, sound investment. To be honest, a good store of value and a great car to drive. At 31,000 miles, you could easily drive that car heading towards 40, get it to 39, and then potentially either think about moving it on or just keep it to enjoy it. Sports exhaust, they sound so much better than the 718, sound so much better than any cars with the OPF filters, which were introduced after about 2018 on cars, which basically is like a mask for your car. Yeah, great car. I'm stunned by it. My next car is the Ford Focus RS. Now, Ford did a couple of limited edition models, including the Heritage, the Red Edition and the Blue Edition. The Heritage Edition, they made 50, and those cars are trading for double what they cost. They were £40,000 new, and they trade for £80,000. And if realistically, some have sold for sort of the £65,000, £70,000. So this is not a far-fetched price, doubled in money. The Red Edition, there were 300 of them. They were £40,000 new, 3-4 years on. Guess what? They're still £40,000 with, say, 10, 15, thousand miles. If you've got a really low miles, it will go a little bit above that, heading towards £44,000. The Blue Edition, about, again, they're sort of trading around between sort of like 32 and 36,000 pounds, depending on the miles, but again limited to about 600 cars. But although I think those cars are potentially out of reach, you can get a normal Ford Focus RS. There were more of these made. There are more of these knocking around on Auto Trader. There's a few hundred going. This car is up at 24,950. It's done 40,900 miles. So again, it's a one-owner car. It's in a very subtle colour. It's had no modifications. Again, you've got to look at the place that it's in. At least it's driveway parked, so that's a good sign. It looks like a nice area, if I'm honest with you. I've been to that area. It is quite nice. Colour's good. It's got the bucket seats. It's pretty much fully optioned. It's a very good car and an unbelievable car to drive. It also, as you can see here, I believe has a full Ford service history. I can't tell if maybe one might not be a full Ford, but yeah, which isn't actually the end of the world if it doesn't. I'm not a big fan of main dealers anyway, so that's not the end of the world. What they've said in it, they've said no offers, price to sell, one owner, and I think that's right. New front discs and pads. It's had the head gasket recall done in 2018, so he knows all his stuff. Clearly, you can have a chat with them and you'll get a really good understanding. Mature owner, not being modified, and those are the hard ones to find. Try, if you can get a standard one, or get something that can potentially be reversed. That's where I would go. That's kind of what I would say. And yeah, again, a really good car to enjoy and have fun in. And at that price, I think, you've got a safe car to get. I'm telling you, finding a good one of these is very hard because Focus RSs have changed hands a lot and a lot have been modified. So it's hard to find a good one. And people know when there's a good one out there, this is a good one. This would have been snapped up already a year ago at this price. It would have already gone. He would have sold it within about 30 seconds. Today, it's the time to buy. Right, my final pick is a Golf R. I own a Golf R. This is classed as the cheapest Golf R in DSG. It's done a few miles, 87,000, but then it's a 15 plate. It's a 7-year-old car. It's sold from a dealer in Sheffield. It's up at 13,600. I love it in silver. I love it in 3-door. And the fact that it's DSG is also a big plus. But other than that, and it's got the upgraded nav, so you get a bigger Discover Pro nav. It's pretty much nothing else. Doesn't even have heated seats. This was in a time where heated seats weren't standard on it. It looks very stock. And again, if your checks add up, which it looks like it does on Auto Trader, it's pretty good. You get 2 keys, which is important. It's only had 3 owners. They're looking for a cheap sale. They're not looking for any offers. And yeah, I can see why. 87,000 is a lot. But again, I would say if you can keep the miles below, say 100, because let's be honest, you're probably going to go over 90,000 miles in this. You're going to do more than 3 because it's a great car. 13,695. I'd give you 10 grand for it at 90 odd thousand miles. Anyone would if it's well looked after and it looks clean. Do all your checks, but those are the 5 cars that I would recommend. And I do want to keep this kind of going week by week to kind of give you guys an impression. These are the cars that I love. These are the cars that I've driven, and these are some of the cars that I've bought myself. And now is the time to buy if you can. For so many reasons. You'd be a car enthusiast, and it can be a good financial decision. It genuinely can be. Personally, I would advise staying away from finance. I would say buy your cars in cash. That's what I would do, so you don't pay the interest rates. I appreciate some of these cars are out of people's range, but some of them might not be. So that's all my advice. Obviously, if you have to go down the finance route, make sure you get a low APR interest and try to borrow a small amount. And that's basically it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will leave a link in the description to each of these 5 cars, and I'm sure they would have potentially already been sold. And good luck to the owners of the sale. And for all of them, other than the dealers, I think I showed 2 dealer cars, didn't I? I showed the Performance Edition and the Golf. The 3 other ones, which are sold privately, if those owners held I think that's a good store of value, personally. Anyway, my pick out of all of them at that stage would probably be the 40th, just because I'm a sucker for it, but I love them all, absolutely love them.